we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you're not an exhibitor that has to stay in the back, maybe you want to come around front.
You going to speak up for it?
On behalf of Dallas College, Cedar Valley campus, I want to welcome everybody to this year's Arbor Day event. We couldn't have picked a better day. This is a beautiful day. If you remember Monday, I'm glad we didn't hold this on Monday. It was awful cold and windy, so the nature gods served us well today. I want to recognize a few people that behind the scenes made all this possible. A lot of facility folks. First, I want to start off with Mr. Joe Hayes. Is he here?
Yep, there he is.
Where's Joe? Right there.
All right,
Yeah.
Joe.
And if you haven't, now I know most of you probably traversed the campus and saw how nice the campus looks. But over the last couple of years, Joe and his team have just made some remarkable changes here on Cedar Valley campus. One of the latest projects that he oversaw, he worked with one of our contractors, Tree Shepherds. They cleared out all the trees along the creek line, and it's beautiful. And Joe said his first time in his 30 years, or close to 30 years maybe, he was able to see the other side of the campus from one side. So it looks great. So just want to applaud Joe for all the work that he and his team, they dug these holes, they got prepared the area. Just can't say enough about his team. Along with his team, Mr. Morgan Menifee, right there, if you raise your hand, Morgan. He's the manager of the consolidated landscaping team that travels to all campuses, and they connect with the local campus on the each local landscape team campus, and helps them maintain the outer portions or do special projects or whatever. So I'm glad Morgan's here today. I would be remiss if I didn't introduce an old friend that I see out there. That's he helped start the sustainability program at Richland, 30 years ago, before sustainability was cool. Mr. Jerry Owens, right here, raise your hand. He and Sonia work together developing partnerships with the next that I want to introduce is our Texas Trees Foundation. Chris Wurst, I think he's right here. Chris will speak here in a little bit. But we've had a partnership, started out with Richland campus, had a partnership with Texas Trees for, 17, 18, 19 years now. They have a tree farm actually on that campus. They furnish the trees for today. They furnish trees for all of our Arbor Day events. And they've just been a fantastic partner. And so we're going to listen to Chris in a little bit on the importance of trees and what they do. You know, contrary to popular belief, trees are not just to sit under and have a cold one. There's actually other benefits that's available with trees too. So he's going to enlighten us, and I'll probably better listen to that portion of it too. I'd like to recognize our exhibitors back here. First, our student green team from Cedar Valley. They're at the first booth. Let's give them an applause. And of course, a whole lot of them that belong to that team couldn't be here today because of class, and our instructors said, hey, pass your grades, you can go out there. So we miss a bunch of them that should be here, but the recruiters are back here. So if you're not on the student green team you'd like to be, please see the gentleman there. Mark with the Blackland Society Council. Right here. What's your last name, Mark? Goldwyn. Yeah, so appreciate you being here and talking about your organization, what all you do. Nathan with the Wetlands Association. Yeah, and his partner Beaver back here. So appreciate you guys being here. And then of course the other table is the Texas Trees Foundation. I'd like to give a special recognition to Dr. Brenda Floyd right here. Good to see her. She's a big supporter of what we do. And then also the sustainability team, probably a year ago, maybe not quite that long, started reporting to facilities, and 4 members, under the direction of Garrett Rosser. Where's Garrett? There he is, right there. Garrett's our energy and sustainability manager. He does a great job on both aspects of his responsibilities. Ted Spradley is not here today, I don't believe. He's a member of that team. Neil, is it Kaufman? Yeah, Neil is not here. He provides a service along with Garrett. But I also want to recognize Miss Sonia Ford right here in the back with the black coat. Raise your hand, Sonia. She does everything behind the scenes, and I told her I was going to embarrass her. I call her Sonia the Magnificent. I have for the last 10 years. She does everything behind the scenes. She develops the partnership with the Tree Foundation. She sets up all these Arbor Days at different campuses. She promotes the campuses to become Tree Campus USA designation, and we have several now. And now we're doing all that under the umbrella of Dallas College and not just individual campuses. But I just can't say enough about the tireless hours that Sonia puts into these programs. She's very dedicated. So personally, I want to give her a big hand for today and all the events that she oversees. Yeah, I will. And then our Info Central volunteers, they're helping with all the tables here and giving directions for ones that might come up here shortly. Just appreciate everything they do, not only just for today, but all the things they do behind the scenes, setting up classes, designating classrooms for different curriculums. Just a great group. Today we'll hear words from Chris, like I said, talking about the benefits of trees. Also from Texas Forestry, Texas A&M Forestry Services, Mike Seals. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the Tree Campus USA designation and the components that you have to do to maintain that designation. And then, of course, Cedar Valley President Dr. Joe Seabrooks is here today to speak to us. So, I probably missed someone, but I apologize. But without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Seabrooks.
Thank you, Mr. Dunson. I really appreciate that very kind and warm introduction and acknowledging the multitude of individuals to make today a huge success. My job is to primarily welcome you to sunny Cedar Valley. And as you can see, the sun never sets on the possibility. But as I was reflecting on what I would share with you today, it took me back to my childhood years when my family, my parents, my mother, my father, they always taught me and my brothers to always leave something better than you found it. And so if you go spend the night over at a friend's house, you make sure that you make the bed, you make sure that you clean up after yourself and maybe clean up after them, right? If someone lets you borrow a sweater or a jacket, you make sure when you return it that even if it was given to you in not the best condition, you make sure you wash it or take it to the cleaners to show your appreciation. If someone lets you borrow their car and you go ripping and running your errands to show your appreciation, you fill it up with gas. Well, whether we like it or not, or acknowledge it or not, we are all here on borrowed time. And the time that we have on this earth is only going to be a small glimpse of it out. And it's all of our responsibility to leave this planet better than what we found it. And oftentimes we have been encouraged to be a high consumption culture where we consume more than we replenish. And we're counting on you young people to kind of reverse the trends of my generation, to begin to be thinking about life after you. And so today is a representation of our commitment to something bigger than ourselves, something that's sustainable, no pun intended. And so I'm grateful for all of you who have invested your lives to do your part to educate us as we run through life trying to make a way. And so I'm extraordinarily grateful for our students. I am fantastically awed and inspired by incredible staff and team that makes these kinds of activities possible. So with no further ado, welcome to sunny Cedar Valley, and we wish you all the best in all your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Seabrooks. That's well spoken. Next, I do want to introduce Chris Worse with Texas Trees Foundation. The executive director, Elisa, I can't pronounce her last name, and he can't either. So she couldn't be here. She's new to the organization, but met over the last couple of weeks, met with Chris and her, and they have terrific plans scheduled over this next year or two, and what they'd like to do at several of the campuses. So without further ado, Mr. Chris Worse.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Chris Worst. I'm an urban forester with the Texas Trees Foundation, and thank you all very much for being out here with us this morning to plant some trees. I'd like to, as Ken said, say a few words about the importance of Arbor Day and planting trees in general. If you're here, you probably know a little bit about Arbor Day, which is a day that we set aside to celebrate trees. In case you didn't know, most other states actually celebrate Arbor Day in the spring, and Texas is kind of special in that we celebrate it in the fall, specifically November. Oops, there we go. Is that better? So the reason that we plant trees in November and in the fall in Texas is because it gets really, really hot in the summer, right? So unlike up north, where they have a little bit more milder summers, we like to plant our trees in the fall so that they have a little bit more time to get their roots established, and then when the super hot summers do hit, hopefully they'll do a little bit better than if we planted them right before summer started. So that's the reason why down here in Texas we celebrate Arbor Day in the fall, as opposed to most other places up north who celebrate it in the spring. Arbor Day itself is a very special holiday. Most holidays celebrate something that has already happened and is worth remembering, while Arbor Day represents a hope for the future. The simple act of planting a tree represents a belief that the tree will grow big and strong and tall and will provide us with clean air, cooling shade, habitat for wildlife, and a host of other benefits we'll get into in a second. Trees provide, as I said, a multitude of benefits that help make our cities more livable. So trees help us keep cooler on those hot summer days. They filter pollutants, they sequester carbon, and they just overall improve health for humans. Dallas, Lancaster, other urban areas experience what's called the urban heat island effect. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically where all the buildings and the concrete, the cars, all of that absorbs sunlight on beautiful days like today, and then they release that energy from the sun back out as heat. And that ends up making urban areas a lot warmer than surrounding rural areas. So if you ever look at a weather map, you're watching the news or something like that, you'll notice that urban areas like Dallas tend to be noticeably warmer on a given day than those surrounding rural areas that don't have all this infrastructure that we have here. And planting trees and providing more shade for that sunlight and preventing it from reaching those surfaces is one of the best ways we have to prevent our cities from getting quite so hot. The net cooling effect of a young, healthy tree, believe it or not, is equivalent to 10 room-sized air conditioners operating 20 hours a day. So that's a lot, right? I mean, that's a lot, especially when you consider that this past summer it got up to 120 degrees some days, right? That's a big deal. But it's not just about heat. Trees have a host of other benefits as well. So 1 acre of forest absorbs 6 tons of carbon dioxide and puts out 4 tons of oxygen. That's enough to meet the annual needs of about 18 people every year. So that's pretty good. The planting of trees means improved water quality as well. If you think about what trees do, they're providing a big canopy that traps rainwater that's falling from the sky and prevents it from kind of getting to the ground quite so fast. Otherwise, that water would kind of just wash away and into our stormwater systems. So those trees have kind of a slowing effect for the rain so that the water can get into the soil a little bit better and then get into our groundwater, which we drink, right? There are also a host of human health benefits that trees in urban forests bring us as well. Trees can reduce the rate of heart disease, strokes, and asthma due to improved air quality from filtering out all those pollutants. And studies have shown that visual exposure to settings with trees greatly reduce stress. Trees in our communities and campuses, and school campuses, are also very good that they enhance learning. So there have been some studies that have found that school landscapes with more trees and shrubs have been associated with higher academic performances when compared to campuses with fewer trees and more grasses and parking lots and things like that, right? So schools which have more trees within the boundaries of their schools tend to have students with higher standardized test scores. So having more trees on a campus like this, that's really, really important and helpful. There are countless benefits from having these trees on your campus, and all of this is going to further solidify Dallas College's commitment to urban forests. So, on behalf of the Texas Trees Foundation, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Dallas College System and Dallas College Cedar Valley Campus and for having us out here today to celebrate Arbor Day with all of you. We at the Texas Trees Foundation are very honored to work with you and your students and the rest of the college system. As Ken mentioned, we do quite a lot over at Richland College, and that's been a very good partnership for years and years and years, and we're really happy to keep going forward with that. So thank you all for being out here, and now I'm going to pass it back over to Ken. Thank you.
Christopher, can you let them know about the seedlings?
Oh, yes, real quick. So we have about 50 seedlings that are over on our table over there, where Alex is itching his nose currently and didn't know I was going to call him out. So we've got 25 pecan trees, which are going to grow up into nice big pecans, give you pecans. And then we also have 25 dawn redwood, which is a really, really pretty tree. It's kind of similar to bald cypress. So at the end of this, if you want to go over there and pick up some trees, they're over there for you for free.
When I was doing a few introductions, I missed someone that is an up-and-coming hero for Dallas College, and that's Mr. Michael Campo right there. Raise your hand, Michael. He's the Tech 3 or Supervisor for Landscaping Services at our Brookhaven campus, and he's made some tremendous strides over the last year and a half, 2 years out there, and his team is great, so thank you for being here. He said he had to come out and make sure he watched after Joe. He didn't do something incorrect.
Joe Hayes.
Joe Hayes. Yes, sir. Joe Hayes. Clarify that one. Our next speaker is Mr. Mike Seals. He's with the Texas A&M Forestry Service. Mike has been a longtime partner, first with Richland campus and now Dallas College. He helps promote these events. He helps Sonia filling out the application each year to be a Tree Campus USA recipient. Mike has been a behind-the-scenes partner with us for a long time. And I found out right before this event, he used to run cross country all out through here. He said in his high school days. So if you see him out running out later on, it's not some guy gone crazy. He's reminiscing about his old younger days or something. So, but without further ado, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Morning. I was here listening to Dr. Seabrooks' message about leaving things better than you found it, and then Chris telling us why trees are important. And I just wanted to, as I was driving out, I was thinking about what I would say, and I think that I want to kind of focus on tools in the toolbox. So in order to leave things better than we found them, sometimes we need to rely on some tools. And back behind here, all the vendors, we are tools available to help Dallas College get to where they want to be. and that's the Texas Forest Service, Trinity Blacklands or the Forestry Council, Texas Trees Foundation. We're all here to help so that folks don't feel like they're just out doing it by themselves. And the Arbor Day Foundation Tree Campus Higher Education is again a tool. It's a tool to help encourage the campuses to improve the urban forestry programs. The first step in that, there's 5 standards. The first step is to establish a advisory committee made up of staff and students, if possible. And then the second is to have evidence of a plan. Have something in written form, either digital or on paper, that the folks are following and trying to accomplish a goal. The third is kind of where I come into play, is having verification of that plan by seeing, what are you spending dollars on that? Are you being supported? Are people supporting you and getting the word out about these events? And then observing an Arbor Day, just what we're doing here, and then putting a picture with it in the application. That's where I come along. I see that and approve it with the little check mark. And then the final one, that's kind of eluded me, is what's the last one?
Arbor Day celebration.
Oh, that's the Arbor Day, and then there's one more. There's 5. Well, anyway, it's just getting recognition, giving recognition for things you're already doing. Oh, the 5th one is the having the project for the students and to encourage their involvement. And that's what this is all about. It's getting students involved. It was really late in life where I became aware of trees. I would run in these parks for our cross-country events, but I didn't know what the trees were. And I think that was really the question that spurred me on to get my forestry degree and to learn about the trees. And so anyway, I just wanted to speak on that. And we're all here for you, and we appreciate what you're doing. And see Dallas College succeed. Thank you.
That pretty much concludes the program. Here shortly, Chris is going to demonstrate on how to plant a tree. There's actually techniques on doing that. You don't want to get it too deep or too shallow. So he's going to demonstrate on how to plant it. He wants volunteers to help, so anybody wants to get their hands dirty. But before everybody leaves, and I know Dr. Seabrooks on a tight schedule, let's everybody come up. We want to get one good photo here by the sign, so let's everybody come up and get our picture taken. Thanks again for everybody coming today. I hear about you all the time.
Going up closer.
Well, you're not gonna be able to get them both. You might want to get in the middle then.
Yeah, we gotta get in the middle. So you can get all of this.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
application.
Come in the middle of the sign. The gazebo is your friend. There
Okay.
you go.
Oh. Yep.
This is our window.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, we ready?
Almost.
All right.
We don't say cheese, right? Trees.
Oh, trees. Okay, all right. All right, hold that on 3, 2, 1.
Trees.
One more.
Trees.
I was want one more picture, not. All right, hold that on 3, 2, 1. Trees.
All right, let's do this key for the tree. So,
But I think I'm going to build for that. Oh, you know, Nikki started.
so we've got a tree right here, obviously. Does anybody know what kind of tree this is? An oak? Good. Yep, this is a Shumard oak specifically. So it should be kind of look like those right over there when it gets nice and big and tall. You can already see it's got a lot of that really nice, pretty red small color.
But this is a pretty big pecan tree. So get this one.
Good. Kind of like this. Or there's not really any little kids here, but we really like having little kids kind of kick the crap out of it. They love doing that. Oops. So that should loosen up the soil in the pot a little bit, enough for us to actually pull it out of the pot. So have one or two people kind of grab the base of the tree like this and have another grab the pot, and we're just going to pull it out. That came out perfectly. So the next thing that we want to do, if you look at what we call the root ball, so this is the root ball because it's kind of the balled up area where the roots are. The tree roots want to grow outward, but the problem is they're growing in pots, right? So they eventually hit a point where they can't grow outward anymore. But being roots, they still want to grow, so they'll start circling around the pot. This isn't a great example tree, but you can kind of see here, this root's definitely starting to circle. We've got some down here starting to circle. So what we need to do is take your shovel and just go ahead and break those roots up. Just like this. Don't be worried about hurting the roots or anything. This is one of the best things we can do for the tree at this stage in its life. And what this is going to do is it's going to, one, the roots aren't circling anymore. Two, it's going to kind of stimulate the roots. They're going to go, oh no, we're broken, and start growing outward once we have it planted. So while you're doing this, kind of have someone rotate the root ball so you can kind of get around the whole thing. Makes it easier. Some of these trees are going to be a little bit more root bound than others. This one's actually really, really good. Hopefully they're all going to be like this. And a little bit more. Okay, that's good. Yeah, this side's got a little bit more of those circling roots. You can get the bottom as well, but the bottom's not nearly as important as the sides. All right. Once we got that part done, we need to measure the depth of our hole. So, what we need, if we place it flat, ideally at the end of this whole thing, we want the root flare maybe a couple inches above the level of the ground. So what is the root flare? That's not necessarily the top of the dirt. Sometimes the stem can be buried a little bit. I've seen it buried this much, right? The root flare is this area down here where you can see that the roots start actually kind of like shouldering out from the main stem. So sometimes this can be hidden a little bit, and you need to make sure that that's actually exposed. So on this particular example tree, it's a pretty good example tree because that's a really, really good, obvious root flare. That's what we want. In the end, we want this to be about an inch or two above the level of the ground. So now that we've found our root flare, we're going to measure the depth of the hole. So, as Carlos or Alex, I guess it was Alex had done, take one shovel, lay it flat against the side of the tree. Then we're going to take our other shovel, do kind of an improvised ruler out of it. So it looks like this is about how tall our tree is. So if we go down here, put it in the hole, looks like this hole is really deep, right? If we were to put the tree in the hole now, it's going to probably go all the way up here on it, and we don't want that. We want this, again, to be about 1 or 2 inches above the level of the ground. So, we're going to go ahead and backfill some soil. And I will say the hardest part of planting a tree is digging the hole. So thankfully that was taken done ahead of time, so be grateful for that. And as they're filling it in, it's a good idea to kind of tamp it down a little bit, kind of get a nice flat surface. The tree's going to sink a little bit, but hopefully it won't sink as much. Kind of flatten it off like this a bit, put a little bit more right there. as we're going along, we can go ahead and measure the depth of our hole again. So let's see. That shovel is not long enough.
There you go.
So our hole's about this deep. We're going to go back over to our tree. So that's still
A little deep.
probably a little bit too deep, so we want to add just a little bit more.
What's the impact on the tree if it is lower than the grade on the drainage and everything there?
So, the question, for those of you who didn't hear it, was, what's the impact on the tree if we plant it too deep? So, we have those circling roots, right? The roots want to grow in the soil. If we bury the tree too deep, those roots can start growing up and start circling around on the top and create what we call girdling roots. So eventually, the tree's going to get bigger this way. Those roots are going to kind of stay circled and grow bigger, and it's going to be like it chokes the stem later on in its life. So we're trying to prevent that from happening up front. All right, let's measure the depth of the hole again. Probably pretty good. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. All right, so next what we're going to do